Well, my family's from Houston.
Wait,
Yeah,
have we talked about
we
this?
have. We have many
Oh
times.
my god.
Yeah, so family's from Houston. My brother lives in Austin. I have aunt and uncle in the hill country.
Wait, we're in the hill country.
I don't know.
Oh man.
They're by like the Salt Lake over there. That's all that I know.
I don't know about that. But I went to summer camp in the hill country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
that's far from Houston.
Yeah, it's like 4-ish hours. It was overnight
Okay.
camp. Yeah.
Is that a Jewish thing?
No.
Okay.
No, it was actually a Christian camp. And I was like
Wait, are you
a
Christian?
budding atheist. No. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No. It wasn't even really like raised Jewish either. It was really just sort of raised like kind of independent of religion altogether. Like we still celebrated Christmas, and maybe once every 5 years we lit a menorah.
Sick.
But
Wait, okay, so you are Jewish.
yeah, so my dad was
Okay.
raised Jewish, and my mom,
Nice.
her parents were also not super religious, but she grew up in Oklahoma in the Bible Belt. So she was sort of raised Christian adjacent. And I think she maybe mostly still relates to Christianity most. But she was ready to convert for my dad, and my dad was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go to the golf course on Saturday morning.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So she was like, okay, well, then I'm not going to do it if you're not going to, like, go with me. And so, yeah, we just weren't really, like, raised in religion really at all. Yeah. But it's kind of hard to avoid in Houston and, like, in the South in general.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, went to church with
That
some
makes
friends
sense.
a few times. And, like, the churches there, they have great programming. Like, oh, here's a sand volleyball tournament. Here's an overnight camp out.
Yeah.
But to participate, you have to go to the services. So, like...
So would you go?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I would go for those, but I was just like, this is...
Were you like confirmed? Wait, is that a thing
No.
in Christianity?
Yeah.
Okay. Were
like
you
confirmation.
baptized?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing.
Do you have like shame and guilt from it?
No.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
You got off lucky.
I do think that I have a bit of a disconnect because it was never something that was ingrained in me. I have a hard time connecting with how deep it can be rooted in some people. Like even my friends that are now full grown adults, some that have kids, I'm like, oh, you're like teaching your kids religion. And like growing up, you like fought going to church. Like I would have to leave the sleepover early because y'all needed to go to church. And now you're like doing the same thing for your kids. So I don't know. I guess I assume people are less religious than they are just because I'm not religious at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, move it a little bit closer.
Like
It doesn't do that. Sick.
there?
Thanks.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so you just got engaged.
Yeah. Well, it's been like over a year now.
Wait, what?
We're having a long engagement.
Shit.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought it was
by choice.
recent.
No, but I did just get the ring. So we designed a custom ring, and it took like 10 months to come in. Yeah, that was a whole thing. It wasn't supposed to take that long.
Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, that's not fun for a podcast. Nobody wants to hear about my ring woes. Although I did just post a TikTok the other day about my ring. And
about the situation that happened.
No. Just about the design of it because...
Wait, that's it? Okay.
Yeah. Because
Okay, that's perfect. That's awesome.
Non-traditional engagement rings, I guess, are a hot topic on TikTok. And I kept getting TikToks about them. And I was like, well, I have a non-traditional engagement ring. So I made one just showing mine off. And it got a little bit of traction. Nothing like viral. Okay. But it got some traction within that community. So then I made another just sort of following up because people were asking about like wedding bands and stuff. So it is funny that you asked because it has been like a very timely topic in my life.
I remember your debacle.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah, it just took forever and they got it wrong and I just sent it back and it was a whole thing.
Did they get the size wrong?
Yeah, they got the size wrong. Had to get it resized. But then after that, I was like, I'm not going to send it back. You're just going to reimburse me. Yeah. Because I had already sent one ring back once and It was a whole thing.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Has that added to the time of engagement or no?
No.
Okay.
No, we always knew that we wanted a long engagement.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because we wanted to like sit in this new phase of our relationship. When we started talking about marriage and what that would look like for us, we knew that we weren't in a rush to get there.
Right.
Because neither of us want kids. So it's like, there's not some ticking clock there, at least.
That was going to be my next question, because I was like, are you going to raise your kids? You were talking about your friends raising them.
No.
Okay.
No, no babies.
No babies. Has that... Okay, I'm dealing with that right now. I'm like dating people and... hang on. I date both men and women. And when I date women... a lot of the women that I a lot of the women that I like go on dates with do not want kids. And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's great. But with my last girlfriend, she didn't want kids. And I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like, that's great. But like, I've always wanted kids. And I'd like changed myself for her. And I didn't like that. And so now it's like, okay, that's something to look into. I guess,
Yeah.
you know, that's something to like keep an eye out for, like not changing myself for somebody. But yeah, has that always been a thing? Is it the state of the world that is fearful to bring them into?
Yeah, but also just from like an early age, I was never the type of kid that was like heavily playing dolls or like playing house. I mean, yeah, we played house some, but I like played doctor more than I ever played house.
I could see you playing a doctor.
Yeah. Or like if we would play house, I was always like the rebellious, like rock star, like younger sister, or like, you know, something absurd like that. But then as I, you know, grew up a little bit and was like in my teen years, it was just not at all something that was on my radar. Like a lot of people I feel like they know immediately. They're like, I'm going to get married by this age and I'm going to have kids by this age. And this is how many I want. And these are the names I want. And like,
has that worked out for them?
Some of them, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it never goes exactly according to plan, but I do feel like my friends that have always said that they want kids, a lot of them have kids now.
Wow.
But no, I never had that. And I think that I was able to put it off, like really solidifying that decision for a while, because I wasn't in super serious relationships, or I was young enough where I thought I have time to make this decision later. And then once my fiance and I started to get like really serious and I could tell it was getting serious, I was just sort of like, maybe we should have this conversation. Like, do you want kids? I don't know if I want kids, because I was still sort of like, I don't know, like maybe my mind will change.
Yes.
Because I also think I assumed that I would come around to it and it be just something that I grew into. And as we started dating longer and longer, I was just like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And he was always sort of like, well, I've never considered not having kids. Like, isn't that just what you do?
Right.
Which I feel like is a particularly like male
thing.
Stance.
Yeah. I'm in that situation also. I'm like, well, I've never like considered it, but I've always wanted them.
Yeah.
I've always like wanted, and especially as I get older, I'm like, I need to take care of something, like almost this like yearning, like, I need something to
Do your
like,
siblings have kids? Do you have any? No. Have you ever babysat or played with kids? Have you ever held a baby?
A couple times.
Okay.
I'm the youngest of the youngest of the youngest.
Yeah.
So I was like the baby that got babied.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was pretty fun. I'll just like do that. But yeah, it can be a nightmare for some people. It cannot be a nightmare for some people. It can be awesome. But my mom, she worked at a senior center. She just retired. But she's like talking with my sister, and my sister's like, I don't know if I want kids, whatever. And my mom brings up a good point for me personally. Like, she's like, people never go to their grave because she is working with seniors all day, blah, blah, blah. People never have gone to their grave like regretting having kids. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point.
That's interesting you say that, because there's a whole subreddit.
Is there a Reddit where they regret?
That's all parents regretting having kids.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And I always hear the opposite. People don't regret not having kids.
Okay.
But regret having kids. I think maybe once you're in old age, your kids are grown by that point, and maybe the burden of child rearing is, long gone, and so maybe that isn't like a pressing thing. But yeah, check out the subreddit. I'll send it to you.
Do you know what it's called?
No, I'll find it. I'll find it.
It's probably just like regret with kids. Yeah. I mean, my friend was talking the other day. He's like this 55-year-old dude and has an autistic kid, and he's just like, it's so hard.
Yeah. So
fucking hard. He's like distraught all the time, and like it was fine from like age 0 to 6, 7, and then now that he's getting bigger, like causing fights at school, like going up to some people and just punching them in the face, like just like kind of like uncontrollable at this time. And so there's so many risks. Yeah. That being said, it would be awesome to have them. I do not have a uterus, so
but it's good that when you're at least dating or like getting into relationships, you're sort of immediately talking about it. I've seen a lot of relationships, especially recently as I've gotten older, and like my friends and peers have gotten older. I've seen more and more relationships really turn sour when they weren't on the same page, but now here they are years into their relationship, and there is sort of a tug of war of like, well, who's going to succumb to what? Whether it is or isn't having kids, or is the relationship just gonna, dissolve? Right. So it's good to at least talk about early. Yeah.
I think and then we'll move on. But I've started making friends with older females who didn't have kids, and like older males who didn't have kids as well. Especially like now that I live in LA. And they do seem like kind of free, and they do seem like kind of happy, and they look great. They're like 55, and I'm like, oh, you're like 30 something.
Kids
like,
age you, man.
Dude, they age you so much. Oh my god. Anyways,
now that I've shit on having kids.
Yes. So you wanted to be the rock star when you were playing house.
Oh yeah.
And stuff. How did you? Tell me about your childhood. How did you like get into more of the artistic endeavors in your life? And when did you move to LA?
I moved to LA in 2017.
Okay, sick.
November of 2017. Moved out here for an internship with a photographer and director.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. The internship was like pretty open-ended. It was sort of like, might last 4 months, might last 6 months. Just sort of loosey-goosey. And so I really didn't have a like end cap on when I was going to be here, or like how long I was going to be here. And once the internship was more or less over, I was like, okay, well, what if I set a goal for like the next 3 months? And if I hit that goal, what if I set another goal for like the 3 months after that?
What was that goal?
I don't even remember what my first one was. Honestly, gosh. I know that one of my goals was getting signed to an agency. And once I hit that, I was like, okay, I'm going to stay for another year.
Well, you got signed?
It was so brief. And then the agency like collapsed.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It was a very small, like little indie agency. I don't know if that's a thing, but it was a very small agency. And I was signed there for, I think, 4 or 5 months. And then the woman that owned it just like closed up shop. So it didn't really amount to much. And I definitely wasn't at a point where I was like ready. Now in hindsight, I was not ready or didn't need to be signed to an agency at that point. But when I moved to LA, everybody I met told me to give it 3 to 5 years. They were like, that's just like the bare minimum to get
work, for comfortability in LA, for both.
Yeah, both, to like build your community and figure out where in the city you like, to build your network, to like get, you know, your bearings,
Damn.
like put some roots down, just give it 3 to 5 years.
I did not get that advice.
Oh man, really?
No,
Wait.
It's always like, oh, the first year is always the hardest. And it's like, okay, second year is pretty difficult too.
Oh my gosh. Every year is difficult. It's LA. But it's gone so much easier.
Yeah.
And it really was after like year 3 or 4 where it was like, okay, like I think I'm here for the long term at least.
Where were you living at that time?
Oh gosh, I've lived everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. My internship was in Venice. So when I first moved here, I was living in a long-term Airbnb for like the first 2 months because I'd never been to LA.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what neighborhood I wanted to be in. I didn't know really how the commute was going to be. So I was in a long-term Airbnb in Mid-City and then was in Mar Vista for maybe another 4 months. Again, because I was just doing short-term goals.
Right.
So I was just doing short-term subleases from people on Facebook.
Yeah. Probably
sketchy, but it worked out. Went from Mar Vista to Koreatown.
Nope. I could not
I
live there.
Koreatown.
I love eating there. I love visiting there.
Yeah.
I could not.
Fun to play, fun to go out, fun to eat. Living there.
Nightmare.
Different story. Yeah. Luckily, it was like on the like edge between Mid-City and Koreatown.
Okay.
So it was just like a little bit removed. But then to have to drive through Koreatown every day to get anywhere, it was a bummer. After Koreatown was in West Hollywood, like Beverly, Fairfax, right over there.
Nice. What? Was that nice? I don't know.
I feel like I did my time.
Okay.
You know?
What does that mean?
Because I think everybody, when they move to LA, at one point or another, ends up living in the West Hollywood, Beverly, Fairfax area at one point or another. And that was actually the place I lived the longest. I was there for, I think, 2 or 2.5 years.
Okay.
Cute little apartment. I had 3 roommates, 1 bathroom, like no amenities, no parking, no AC, no dishwasher, no garbage disposal in the sink, like very bare bones. And of course our rent was still like stupid expensive.
That's cute when you're, oh God, no.
Yeah, it's cute when you're like 25.
Yes. I mean, even.
I know.
Well, when I was like 26, 27 in San Francisco, I was like 4-bedroom house with 4 roommates. Yeah. And then it was during COVID. So we had a 5th roommate move in. Like my roommate's girlfriend moved in with us. Just no consent. No, like, was just like, hey, she's here now forever.
Did she pay rent?
No. No. Sorry if you're listening. And we have 1 bathroom and it was like kind of a smaller space. It was just a hallway. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rough.
It's super rough.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody has that phase though, where they live in kind of a shitty place with a lot of roommates.
Yes.
Builds character, right?
It does. Yeah. Well, I mean, it helped me understand like, oh, you should probably do the dishes. Like, it's nice to take out the trash for other people. Like, yeah, just those little things of like being of service. And it taught me a lot. And it was also like really beautiful. Like from our window, we had a like view of the Golden Gate Bridge and of the ocean. And so that was really awesome. So, okay, after...
Wait, when did you move from San Francisco to LA?
I moved 2020.
No way. I thought you'd been here longer.
No.
Oh.
I mean, my family's in Huntington Beach. I went through some shit up in San Francisco. So I was like kind of had to flee back here and moved in with my mom. And then during that time, like, Dad passed away, girlfriend and I broke up, and I was like deciding between New York or LA. And so went out to New York for like a month and like fell in love with it. Greenpoint was beautiful, which is like northeast Brooklyn area. And then came back here. Like I found a spot here in the lofts and I was way. Cool.
So you've been in this building since?
I was in a different building where, like, Julian took my room.
Okay, yeah.
And then, the landlord was a psycho, so I had to get out, and I found this spot, and I've been here for a year. I was there for a year, here for a year now.
Do you think that part of your decision in coming back was to be close to your mom?
Close to mom, close to family. It was really nice. Yeah, it was a good decision. Like if I was in New York this past year, it would have sucked. My mom just went through like cancer treatment this year, and like so it was really nice to like have her close by and like go with her to like doctor's appointments. And then also LA, New York, I tried working there when I was living there, and it was so hard to find a job. It was all like, oh, we got to go video this corporate stock trader, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is so boring and mundane. And like, instead of wearing like a black shirt, they're all in like tuxes, like setting up lights. I was like, this is not my vibe. And then come to LA, and I'm like, I really like it.
Yeah.
It's a love-hate relationship with this place though.
Same.
Yeah. But it's nice to have family close by. It's nice to like drive up to San Francisco or have Yosemite or Big Sur right there or Santa Barbara.
Yeah. The backyard and the day trips that you can take.
Dude.
It's hard to beat.
Well, I don't do it enough though.
Oh, I don't either. None of us do.
But it's nice to
None of us do. I feel like we probably both fall into the freelance trap, which is even if we have a gap in our calendar, we don't take advantage of it because we're like, what if something comes up?
Exactly.
Or like, I need to be available.
Exactly.
That happens to me all the time.
The
past 2 months.
Dude,
have been so slow. The past 2 months, literally.
Non-existent work the past 2 months.
Yeah.
I've worked 2 jobs.
I think you've got me beat.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I've worked like 2 jobs, and yeah, I've just been like sitting around being like, maybe something will come in. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, like friends are going to Japan and stuff, like living their life.
Like using the time wisely. Yes, yeah. I know. I should be too.
Eventually.
When you are here and you don't have work, what are you doing? I mean, I know you were doing like a 3D printed lamp.
Correct,
like,
yeah.
What are your sort of like creative time fillers?
Ceramics, hanging out, seeing movies, playing pool with some friends, rock climbing, trying to clean my place. A lot of lounging. Clean. I like have nothing to do, but I make myself very busy. I don't know. What do you do in that free time?
I wish I was more like you because I'm trying to be better this year. And I think so far have been, but I kind of fall into the like decision paralysis of executive functioning with ADHD, where like if I have free time, I struggle to just decide to do something and do it. I sort of get caught up in the steps that lead up to it. But this year I've been a little bit better, like working in my garden and starting that whole process of trying to get, some native pollinators growing.
Yes.
Picked up coloring again.
Ooh.
Like trying to connect with
like adult coloring books and stuff. Nice.
Yeah, like that are huge on TikTok.
Yeah.
Trying to find ways to be creative that aren't necessarily photography.
Yes.
And aren't things that I'm immediately going to be like, I'm going to monetize this. Things that are just for me and just to feed me and my creativity. Because I feel like that's like the trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immediately we think, oh, I'm good at this. How can I monetize it?
Yes. Yeah. I fall into that trap. I'm like, start something. I'm like, oh, this can be monetized. And then, it will not pan out that way.
No, and it like sucks all the joy from it.
It does.
Or it puts too much pressure on the thing. And now it's not something that you're just letting yourself kind of experiment with. I feel like I start to like create in ways that I think people will like if I'm trying to like sell them something,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beverly.
Oh, like Beverly Fairfax. Yeah. So then I was in Los Feliz for like a year.
My favorite.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I love it.
I loved it. I really loved it. But I was still with roommates.
Okay.
And that was like peak COVID. And one of the girls in my apartment was immunocompromised, which I'm used to. My dad's immunocompromised. So that was really no problem. But it was a townhouse, a 3-story townhouse. And I was on the bottom level and they were on the top level, and the middle level was living room. And so we were very, very careful. And like only one person would be in the living room at a time. Whoa. And they were both on the top floor and I was on the bottom floor. So it was like really not much interaction. Yeah. It was just me kind of alone in my room or going for really long walks in like the Franklin Hills all day, every day. And it was like lovely. I loved that area. And like, I loved having that space, especially coming from like a really small cramped apartment with a lot of roommates in Beverly Fairfax. But I was like pretty ready to be like done with the roommate phase of my life at that point. I think at that point I was like 28 or 29.
And were you Nico, right?
Nick.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry. Were you and Nick dating at that time? Okay.
Yeah, so we started dating when I was still in Beverly Fairfax, and it was kind of perfect because he lived in the same area. And actually once I moved to Los Feliz, he moved to Frogtown, but he was having landlord / like neighbor issues. And so he ended up breaking his lease there. And when that happened, he was like, let's just move in. And that was sort of like what pushed us to finally get a spot together. So we moved to a townhouse in Burbank. Really loved Burbank. We were like right in the Rancho Equestrians, that area that like backs up to Griffith Park.
Oh, man.
It's really beautiful. It's like across the highway from the IKEA. Okay. You know where the IKEA is.
It's not by the Disney.
It's close. Okay. Yeah. We're like down.
But right by IKEA, south of the freeway, more on the hill of Griffith.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. So we were like in this beautiful, spacious townhouse where on the floor where our bedrooms were, if you looked out the window, it was just like the hills of Griffith Park, and it was awesome. Wow. But our landlord was really shitty.
Sick.
And we were paying so much for rent there that eventually we were like, let's get out of here. Oh, and we were sharing a wall. Like we shared a wall with another townhouse, and the people in that townhouse had an infant with anger management issues.
No.
Yeah. Wait, getting back to kids. Did you know that babies can have anger management issues and they can get so angry that they stop breathing?
I have heard of this.
Yes.
So
this, I was
another score on the scoreboard.
I mean, luckily I was like by our front door when it happened, but our front doors, ours and our neighbors, they like faced each other. And I was downstairs by the front door putting together some furniture or something, and there's a massive pounding at our door. So I like go.
Was it the baby?
No. Oh, okay. The mom is like, do you know CPR? And I look, I can like see right into their apartment, and the dad is there like banging the baby on the back. And they're like, it's choking. And I'm like, yeah, I was a lifeguard. Like, here, give me the baby. So I do the checks first. Like, the baby was crying, so I knew it wasn't like, didn't have a blocked airway or anything. Like, there was definitely, they can't make sound. You can't make sound if you're choking, like, fully.
Okay.
So I knew the baby was like not fully choking. So I like look in his mouth, see if there's anything in there I can like get out. No, I like give it a few pats on the back upside down. And at that point, baby's like fully fine. I think they were just still really rattled and shaken up. So I like hand it back, and they're like, thank you. You know, he was eating, and like he got mad because I wouldn't give him something else. And, you know, then he just, the screaming stopped, and I turned and he was blue. And I was like, oh, that's so scary. I'm so sorry. But like,
oh my God,
you know, he's definitely fine now. And then like a day later, we get another knock at the door, and it's the mom and the dad, and they were bringing me flowers, and they were like, thank you so much. Like, we just wanted to give you an update. So he wasn't actually choking. Apparently it's like a thing with like anger, you know, babies can like stop breathing. And so it was a whole thing. But anyway, through these walls, we could like hear the baby screaming all the time. And that was another good reason to leave on top of everything else. Yeah, right.
Man.
But from Burbank, we knew we didn't want to share any walls after that. So we found a place right on the border of South Pasadena and Alhambra. And it was a beautiful house, like 100 plus years old, like California bungalow.
Wow.
And lived there for like a year and a half until my partner's grandfather passed. And his parents needed somebody to stay in his house for like the first year while they figure out what to do with it while it's in trust. And they were like, you guys want to live in it? We were like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we're in El Segundo.
Where's that?
So it's like between LAX and Manhattan Beach.
Wait, what?
It's like Dockweiler. You know where Dockweiler is?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's El Segundo.
Wait, I thought you were still in South Pass for whatever reason.
No. I know.
Well, you're a West Side girly now.
I know.
Whoa.
I kind of came full circle.
You
like
did.
Working in Venice right when I moved out here, and now I'm, just down the beach.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you're liking it?
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to, just because I was like, I loved the East Side so much. And I love South Pasadena. But man, El Segundo is really cute. It's so walkable. We can get up and walk to a coffee shop or a bagel spot or the beach. I mean, we're not beach people, so we don't go to the beach. But it's just so walkable. It's very small. It's kind of sleepy and quiet. It doesn't feel like LA. Yeah. Which is kind of nice to be able to be so close to LA and everything it offers without being in it, because I feel like I was in it and like really in the thick of it for so long. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This place is quiet.
This?
Yeah.
No. Okay, it is right now. You came on a good day. There is a UPS slot right here where they like load up shit, and they start at 7 p.m. and go till 7 a.m.
And is it like beeping of semis?
Beeping. If they need to move their semi truck, they have to honk the horn 3 times. So about every minute, there's about 5 to 10 honks of the horn. Oh, like it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they tried to raise my rent, and I was like, y'all didn't warn me about this.
Yeah.
Because I viewed it in the day, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's quiet. And then around 6, 7 p.m., it gets.
Did that work? Did the landlords?
They were like, meet me in the middle. I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah. I hate that.
I didn't know rent was negotiable. Like
I didn't either.
Increases. Yeah. So if they like raise it, whatever it is, like 8%, 7.98% or something, was what they were trying to raise. I was like, can we meet at 3%? They were like, meet me at 3.5. I was like, all right.
It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Burbank landlord, they raised our rent at like the 14th or 15th month mark, which was a year after our neighbors moved in, because we moved in before them. And once they hit a year, they raised both of our rent the maximum you can, which is 10%. So then after that, like a month after that, they came by with a letter that was pretty much like, these specific tenant laws or like rent control laws don't apply to us. And within it, it said that they could raise our rent X amount every X period of time. And we like looked into it, and we like contacted a tenant advocacy program, and they were just like, yeah, you're like kind of in this weird bubble where like you really don't have any rights.
What the fuck?
Is it because and it was like no fault of it, or like no cause eviction, and like we were just really unprotected, and they had done some sketchy things along the way, and so we pretty much immediately started to look for a new place. And we asked our neighbors what they thought about it, and they were like, oh, we've already found a new place. And there was also a front house on the lot. It was a front house and then 2 townhouses in the back, and we asked the people in the front house, and they were also leaving. So in the span of like a month, they raised our rent, served us this paper that said that they could raise our rent again, and pretty much evict us with 30 days notice with like no real reason. And then we all moved out within like 3 months after that.
Have you been by that place again? I'm curious if they...
So we kept an eye on it on Zillow, and they like significantly increased the rent once we all bounced, like when they relisted it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Classic.
Either that or like my friend had that happen to him and they all like had to move out because it was just insane. And then they started tearing the place down. So they used that as like a...
To get him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Okay. Yeah. When did you start taking photos? Though?
Oh, man.
And has it just been photos or have you been like painting or planting?
No, the planting is new. Semi-new. I mean, I was always into art in elementary school and like when I was younger. I think a lot because my aunt was an artist and she did mostly like pastels and drawing and calligraphy. I mean, she really did everything, but those were her favorite things that she always did. But she was always coming to us with craft projects for us to do, or you know, she would take pictures of us and draw us.
Wow.
So yeah, like getting to see her art firsthand from, you know, the minute I was born, I think had a really big influence on me. I think a lot of it is also the fact that like I was never a super athletic kid and didn't love sports. And I think in elementary school, it's like you're kind of one of two things, right? You're either athletic and, you know, the PE hotshot, or you're really great in music class and arts and crafts and stuff like that. And so the creative side of things was definitely where I excelled. But it was never like art with my hands that I was good at. Like couldn't paint, couldn't draw, couldn't do that sort of stuff. I was into more of the crafty side of things, like when scrapbooking was a thing, or, oh gosh, I don't know. Like any little crafty thing that you could do, I probably tried at least once, whether it was like ceramics or knitting or crochet, like any of that stuff. But I didn't start taking photos seriously until really like end of 8th grade.
Okay.
I got a digital camera when I was 13.
Sick.
So I don't know, 7th grade?
Well, like a little Canon Rebel or something?
I think it was like, no. Like I'm talking like little point and shoot.
Oh,
like, yeah. And so because of that, like I was the friend that was taking pictures of us all the time. And I have like tens of thousands of images.
Do you still have those?
Oh yeah.
What?
And just like a year or two ago, I made flash drives for all my friends, and it's photos from us when we're like literally 13 to now. Oh my God.
Were those the MySpace days too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This predates MySpace.
Shit.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, they're embarrassing, but I don't know. It's so funny to see us in literally middle school, like figuring out how to do our makeup and, you know, our style changing and our hair changing and like our bodies changing, just like to see the change or to see the progression of time in our entire lives. It's been really cool to have all those photos.
Wow.
Yeah. But so in 8th grade, I think I was just sort of honestly getting more emo and was just looking for ways to express myself. And probably in large parts due to MySpace, started loving a little artsier photography. And then when I was getting ready for high school, it was like really common amongst like my older siblings and their friends to be in yearbook and newspaper. It was sort of like what the cool kids did. And
I can see you as a yearbook person.
But I was like, I don't want to write. I don't want to do the hard stuff. I'll just take pictures. Yeah. Like that. I thought it was going to be a lot easier. Well, I was the only photographer for, I think, the first 2 years I was on staff. So I went in. Oh. Yeah. And I'd never done photojournalism and I never like held a professional camera really.
Yeah.
So I went in, I did there was a weekend workshop that we all went to, and I was in all the photography classes. And that was my crash course in terms of shooting on manual. And that was really only my formal education with digital photography for my whole career. And after that was doing a lot of photojournalism for the yearbook and the newspaper. Since I was the only photographer on staff, I had to go to pretty much everything.
Like all the games.
Every game.
The dances.
Yeah, but like my friends and I were going to go to that.
Okay.
Anyway, but like any meeting for like National Honor Society or Spanish Club or like whatever it may be. It was like I had to go to everything. Not every single time.
Yeah.
But like whether it was going to the FAA ag barn and taking pictures of goats or like wood shop or like whatever. But yeah, it was really yearbook that made me, or like introduced me to digital photography formally. And at the same time of doing all the photojournalism, I started doing self-portraiture on the side, like just for me. Again, I was very emo and very angsty. Had a Flickr. I was doing
Flickr,
I was doing like the 365 or like a 12-month or 52-week, like all those little projects. Yep. And through that, had some photos go to like the statewide like art competitions through like the Scholastic events and things like that. But I really put it all aside and like didn't keep taking photos while I was in college because I studied medicine and was going to be going to physician assistant school.
Wait, I feel like okay.
Yeah. So took a big break before I got back into it.
Okay. So how long were you in medical school? Physician
No, so it was
school?
still my undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah. I just studied, so my degree was in medical sciences.
So you took a 4-year break as you attended school.
Yeah. And just hyper focused on school.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to the University of Oklahoma.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Where all my family went.
Wow.
So, did the like college town thing, joined a sorority, studied my ass off, got good grades, did all the extracurriculars that I needed to get into PA school. And my mental health was shit because of it.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that a lot of that was coming from doing something that I was dreading day in, day out, whether it was the sorority side of things or the academic side of things, was just really not doing well. So my junior year went to therapy and started to like face some of those realities and was able to add a minor in film and video studies for my senior year. I was able to do my whole minor in those 2 semesters.
Whoa.
I came in with a lot of credits, which made it easier for me to go straight into a lot of my higher or my upper division science classes.
Were you in like AP classes? Mm-hmm. Okay, sick.
Yeah. So with that, I was sort of like working ahead of schedule in my science classes. So I had that buffer in my schedule where I could start doing film and video studies because again, this is like just so silly of me. But at the time I was like, oh, I'm just going to do film and television because photography isn't a real career. Like I can't pursue photography, but I can be a director or I can be a cinematographer. Like that's a real job. Like everybody goes and sees movies. So studied film and media. And then when I graduated, I took a couple years and just focused on that, and was working as a freelance PA and story assistant and just like a bunch of random.
In Oklahoma, Texas, or
no,
here?
In Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, after I graduated, I went back to Houston because Houston actually has a pretty good amount of commercials and TV shows that are filmed there, mostly reality TV shows.
What?
Yeah.
So, Swamp People? What?
So I worked, Little People Big World was filmed there.
Oh, shit.
There was an Animal Planet show that I worked on called The Vet Life, about these 2 veterinarians, or 3 veterinarians.
Whoa.
Yeah. There was an MTV show that I worked on for a couple weeks that got yanked before it ever became a thing. We were a week out of pre-production and there was a massive incident on set, so that whole show was scrapped. And then a ton of commercials. Worked on a car show that was on, what's the car channel? I can never remember.
Automotive.
Velocity or something.
Oh, okay. Sick.
Yeah,
never
worked on
heard
a car
of it.
show. But yeah, through that.
Top Gear?
No.
Okay.
No. The show is called Texas Metal.
Sick.
Yeah. About custom cars.
Wait, so you just went to school for medicine or physician assistant. There we go. And then you just got out of school and you were like, I'm going to be a PA?
A different kind of PA, yeah, because I was going to school to be a PA, and then I graduated, and I did become a PA, just a different kind of PA.
But a production assistant.
I was a production assistant.
Wow.
Yeah, and because it's reality TV, you wear a lot of different hats. Mm-hmm. So I was also DITing. There were times where I was like low-key assistant camera. Was a assistant story producer for Dancing with the Stars anytime they would come to Houston.
Oh, wow.
Just did a bunch of random jobs. But during that whole time, people that knew I could take photos would also hire me to take photos. And that just sort of started to take up more and more and more of my time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So how long were you taking photos in Houston?
So it was really just those 2 years. I graduated in May of 2015, and then I moved to LA in November of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were doing that. What brought you out here?
I was scrolling through Instagram, and director. He directs commercials and documentaries, but he's also a music photographer, among other things. He posted on his Instagram that he was looking for interns, and I was like, I might as well apply, like, just for shits and giggles.
Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus.
Oh, no fucking way.
Yeah, wait, do you know Marcus?
No, I don't, but I applied for that internship many times. Yeah. That's interesting.
That's wild.
I suck at really writing. Small. Oh, so Marcus Haney?
Haney, yeah. Yeah.
Wait, that was him. Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. So for anybody listening, he had like how I found out about him was the MTV movie, like No Cameras Allowed, where he like sneaks into Coachella and then like ends up working with Coldplay and Mumford & Sons and all that stuff.
What's funny is, so there were two interns at the time that I was there, and I was sort of the photo intern, and then the other was a more like video intern. And the video intern, I think Marcus may have been like out of the country when I actually got to LA, and so it was just like me and the video intern hanging out in his house, like archiving film for hours.
Whoa!
And he was like, "Oh, so you know all about No Cameras Allowed?" And I was like, "What?" I didn't know about No Cameras Allowed at all. And
oh, shit.
Yeah. I learned about Marcus from Austin to Boston, which was his documentary about the bands that take all the little VW buses from Austin to Boston on tour.
Yep.
And that was my introduction to him. So then I was like, what's No Cameras Allowed? So then I watched that. And it was funny because at the time, shooting Coachella and being on the Coachella team was like my number one music goal. Yes. So here I was with like a Coachella legend. I mean, you know, sneaking in, shooting Coachella, all that, and that kind of like, you know, starting his music career. But yeah.
Wow.
Wild.
What
I can't
believe
you applied.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Literally, I've applied back in the day. When I was still going to school, I like applied for that like 2 to 3 times because I was in school for like 7 years.
Yeah.
So,
no shame. What all did you study? No shame.
I went for general studies. I was gonna try architecture.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you would rock it.
I feel like I would.
Yeah, you can own it.
I will take that.
Yeah, you would crush it. I mean, look at this place.
Well,
just what you've done with it.
Thanks. So I was going to do that, and then I found an internship for taking photos at like a nightclub in Orange County, and I did that for years. And so then that directed me towards photography. So I took like, parents got divorced, like we were going through a difficult time in the family life. So I dropped out of school, went to community college, which was like the best education I've ever fucking received.
Yeah.
I went to like 3 different community colleges, and it was like insane. That's where I learned everything. Mm-hmm. And then finally like moved up to San Francisco, tried out different goals and like different things. And got a couple jobs photographing, and then it just like all kind of went from there. And then I went back to school for film. And then pandemic happened. And so it was kind of a waste of time because it's like, hey, we got to film something, but like you're at home by yourself and we're on Zoom for school. So that sucked. And
what within film did you want to do? Did you have a clear path that you wanted to take?
DP or direct. Yeah.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense when you consider that both of us are photographers and
Correct.
we both were like, oh, we'll just be DPs or directors.
Yes. And then now it's like, wait, that seems very challenging and difficult and like very hard at this moment or at that moment as well to like break into. Because you like come down to LA, like in San Francisco, it's like, oh, it'd be easy to DP. I don't know any DPs. And then like you come down here.
You're in a sea of DPs.
You're in a sea of DPs. Maybe that's what the podcast should be called.
A sea of DPs. Do you see yourself ever getting back into it or revisiting that goal?
DP work? No. I mean, I've worked as like a DP cam op for more like event stuff, like EDC and sea of DPs, whatever. I did that for like a year, and it's great and it's fun, but like photography is really awesome as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like I feel like it would be more on the directing side. So yeah, I mean, do you see yourself?
No. What I was running into a lot when I was freelancing, when I was in Houston, was the more I was on set, the less I really knew what exactly I wanted to be doing on set.
Interesting. I feel like it would be the opposite. Yeah. You would gain more clarity.
And, I mean, that's what they say. And I mean, everybody I worked with was really great and did their best to try and help me figure out what I wanted to do. They'd be like, oh, go shadow this producer for the day, or, go hang with the camera department for this day. But I think what became clear was that I loved creating, but I didn't love the process of the creation. Like, I didn't really enjoy being on set for that long. I didn't love the stress of carrying those really really, really heavy critical roles. And I think that I've found a happier medium doing stills on set. It's like, yes. I get to come in to that world that they're creating. I get to work with the DP. I get to work with the director. It almost becomes a dance, but I'm still shooting stills in a world that they've created, and I get to kind of be a fly on the wall. So no, I don't think I would go back to being in that side of things.
Yeah.
Unless it was something like I wrote something and so then I was going to direct it, like maybe, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Right. So after Marcus, you started taking photos here. So that led to...
Yeah. So after my internship, and like even during my internship, I moved to LA and I was super broke and trying to make it work and just trying to survive out here long enough to be here, quote, 3 to 5 years, what everybody said. So I was working odd jobs. I was a dog walker for like Rover and WAG and all those. Yeah. Lots of dog walking. Amazing. Started house sitting, pet sitting for a producer that had a cat and a dog. Just doing anything I could to like scrape together enough funds to stay another 3 months, while at the same time trying to build up a network out here and, put myself out there and take meetings at record labels or with, management of artists or agencies or ad companies or team leads at festivals. Just like really spent probably those first 3 years just putting myself out there and like emailing people left and right, sending out prints and zines and anything I could think of to try and make myself stand out amongst the sea of photographers that are out here.
Do you still feel that like hunger?
No.
No, I'm right there with you. I feel like
when you hit me up and you were like, oh, I want to do this podcast about like the artist experience and all that, I was like, I feel like a phony. I think because when I came to LA and for those first few years, I was so hungry.
Yes.
And I just wanted to create every day nonstop. And even the menial tasks like advertising myself and reaching out to, potential clients, like all of that, I was doing that nonstop 24/7.
Yeah.
I didn't have friends. I didn't know anybody here. Didn't have any money. So it was like walk 2 or 3 dogs a day and like some self-portraits, go shoot a concert, outreach, nonstop every single day. But now, I'm fortunate to be at a place where a lot of work comes to me. Maybe not in these last few months because things have been so slow.
Yeah.
But I do have a network built up now. I do have repeat clients. I do have connections that I can rely on. And I know, okay, they're going to come back a few times a year for this, and this festival. Or, I know I can rely on a lot of influencer work during this period of time because this and such event is happening in LA. So, I've definitely gotten complacent. And like a lot of that was necessary because I was burning the candle at both ends and I was miserable. But I do think
you mean like hustling and
yeah, it was just exhausting.
Yeah.
I couldn't sustain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it is really nice to be able to like sit back and be like, all right, I can take a breather. I don't have to be scrambling left and right all the time.
Yeah.
But that said, I do think there is a part of me that is a bit disillusioned with photography right now, like photography in general. And so I'm not as hungry anymore because I'm like, well, I don't want to go to this shoot, or like, I don't want to take self-portraits. I don't know. I think it's like a mix of things. I think part of it is that a lot of the stuff that we're hired for is like not stuff that's like feeding me creatively.
Yeah.
Creatively.
A
lot of the stuff that I'm getting hired for isn't stuff that's like feeding me creatively. It's like, go shoot this influencer event, or even like some of the festivals. I'm like, I love shooting live music, but like I love being at home.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. My body hurts.
Dude, yes. Yeah.
It's a genre of music I don't give a fuck about at all.
Yeah.
Maybe the weather's awful and it's like just a grueling, hard shoot. I think you probably know better than most people, like how shitty that world can be.
Yeah.
So I'm disillusioned with that. And also in like a broader sense of like the state of things right now, I'm really disillusioned with I'm struggling with reasons to continue to create, because I feel like there just are not avenues for sharing art in a way that feels meaningful right now. Like, the internet is trash. Social media is trash. Like, I think that there's just a mix of like oversaturation and a speed thing. Like, everybody is pressured to put out as much as they can, as often as they can. And for what? Like, nobody sees your work anymore. You have to create a viral Instagram reel showing how you made it for anybody to care about it.
Yeah. Or
you have to be shooting the most timely celebrity for anybody to give a fuck about it. I don't know. I think a lot about other art forms and the grace they're given. And I think photography and some of the visual arts are not given that same grace. Like, so musicians, for example, it might take them a month to write an album, if not a year. Maybe they're maybe they're fucking with it or a song for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like they might have had a song that they haven't been able to crack for years and years and years. And then it finally makes an album. And then they're going to tour that album for a year, 2 years, possibly. And then by that time, they've lived so much life that then they're ready to go back into the studio and start the process again.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like for us, we have to create as much as we can, as fast as we can, that I don't think I've been giving myself enough time to almost like creatively recharge or give enough time to what it is I want to make in the first place. You know, like if I'm going to go take some portraits, or if like I want to do a passion project, which when was the last time I did a passion project? I don't even know. That's why I'm so inspired by you, because you are so good about doing passion projects. And I've been loving what you've been making.
Thank you.
And like, that's so inspiring, because I feel like my creative candle has just been like blown the fuck out by this need to constantly be creating, that then I have almost nothing left for myself. And I know that creativity is not this limited resource. Like it's not finite, but I struggle with the incentive. Then what's the point? Like, nobody's going to see it on Instagram. The posts are going to flop. I'm not creating.
Which doesn't feel great.
No, it doesn't. It's a hit. It's a neurochemical hit, but it's also like, well, why am I putting all this effort into it if nobody's going to see it? It's not the type of stuff that's going to go show in a gallery. I'm not some fine art photographer. So at what point is this even worth it? Like, it has to be completely worth it just for yourself to just go through the process of creating it. And I think I'm at a point in my life where I would rather spend that creative time and energy on things that aren't photography sometimes. So that's why when you asked me to be on this, I was like, I'm a fraud.
No, you are not. Yeah. You are not. You are sincerely like one of the best photographers I know. It's so good. Like, I was looking at your Instagram and I was like, dude, she just fucking kills it. Like, so good. Like, the colors, the contrast, the compositions, the fun, and like excitement in each photo. Even if it's just like a photo of like hands with confetti, it's like there's just something there. Like, I feel like you have like a really good, like not natural, but like a really honed in talent.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really respect you.
That means
and like
so
seeing
much.
you work with clients, like you're very like professional, very great to be around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm
not a fraud.
I know I'm not a fraud. I'm not saying like I'm not a photographer, but I do think that I would say at this point in my career, I feel the least disconnected to my to like my role as a photographer, because at this point it's like, if I'm not on a job, I'm not picking up a camera. Unless it's like my little film camera I keep on me. That doesn't count.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay. That's so just like of the moment, just like snap a picture.
Yeah, but like you kill it. Like even those like little photos of you and Nick and stuff like that, like 35 millimeter shots are like so epic and so wonderful. So whatever. I mean, I understand what you mean. But yeah, like as a third party outside viewer, it's a different experience, like viewing your work. I
think that's the case for everybody though, right? It's always different from the outside.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
What made you want to do this podcast? Are you doing like, is it all creatives? Is it
I had
mix of different types of artists?
Yeah, it's a mix of different types of artists. In 2018, 19, I think in 2019 and 20, I was just like, man, I was going through some shit. I was like highly, it was almost this, like what we were just talking about. It's like this outside viewership. And I'm like, everybody has it so well put together. Like their not only their Instagram, but like their life looks so incredible. And I'm like, I'm out here struggling. I don't feel good about my work. I feel like my jobs suck. Like, I want to like know what the fuck is up with these people. Like, how do they feel about their work? How do they feel about their clients? Do they even like their job? Because I'm like, dude, like a lot of times I'm on jobs, I'm like, I do not want to be here. This sucks. This isn't creatively fulfilling.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that.
And
because I always feel so bad when I'm like sitting, or not sitting, but like when I'm like trekking at a job doing whatever, and I'm just like, I don't want to be here.
It's a fucking paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one thing that my mom told me, which was great advice, and I always need to remember it. She's like, work is called work for a reason. Like, it's work. It's not going to be fun all the time. Even if we pick this fun thing that looks so fun from the outside, I did not know about all the emails. I did not know about like late payments and having to deal with fucking legal things and having to almost like sue clients for not paying me. And like, there's just so much like, yes, I work a couple days a week or 1 day a week or whatever, and I have all this free time. But on the other hand, there's so much stress, so much effort. Like, we own our businesses. It is hard being a business owner. That's why many people are not business owners.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are becoming more and more their own business owners and stuff with TikTok and social media and all that stuff.
The landscape has changed so much.
Yeah. But I just wanted to know, like, who are these people that I look up to? Because I had like a weird complex at the time, like just maybe it was insecurity or something like that. But I was just like, I just want to get to know these people. I just want to like sit down and like get to know the real them and not the like Instagram-able version of them or whatever. And so that led me to starting it. And then I was like still in college and broke and stuff. And I spilled like a protein shake on my computer and the pandemic happened. And I was all right, I'm going to shelf this. And over the past year, it's like started coming up again of like, okay, I have this like huge net of people that I work with and know who all do really cool stuff, who are also talented, who are like lead these very like exciting lives to the normal man or person or whoever. Like, I feel like there's a need. I've been like pregnant with this idea for a while. Are your feet?
No, they're good. They're good. Okay. I was afraid that if I was hitting this wire, it would pick up or something.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Do you think that... okay, are you one of those people that thinks like everything happens for a reason and like divine timing? You are?
Yeah. Okay. Even the worst shit like happened for a reason.
You think it all happens for a reason. So do you think that spilling that protein drink on your laptop at that time was just the universes or gods? I don't know what your beliefs are, but do you think that that was a way for the timing of it all to just say like, not yet, just wait, you're going to know people, or you're going to be in a spot where you'll have like more opportunities or something like that?
Looking back on that, yeah, sure. Because like right after that, I went through like Kirby. I went through some shit. Like, it was not great. So it was good to shelf that for the time being, and it was good to like, okay, have another 5 years of therapy and hypnotherapy and like learning about life and humans and meeting my so-called like heroes or people that I look up to, and realizing that they're fallible and like human and make mistakes just like me. Like my girlfriend, I even looked up to her at the time. And I remember like a question that I asked her. I was like, do you even do you struggle with things? And she's like, what? I was like, well, you just seem happy all the time. Like, I'm assuming that like you have no struggles. And she's like, Scott, what are you talking about? And I was like, I was so in a different headspace that I'm glad that, it ended at that time. Because now I feel a lot more like confident in myself, a lot like easier going, a lot more, I don't know. I feel like, and my net of people again are just like these really exciting, beautiful, real humans. And I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years. I've gotten to know, my neighbors even are like people that I look up to, in their work and in their life as well, which is like so cool to have that. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you have found this place and found like your rhythm.
Thanks.
Within LA and this industry.
Thanks.
And that you've had this opportunity to bring this back. I'm excited to listen to more episodes because this is the same type of stuff that I'm interested in.
Yes. Yeah. I know you as a podcast person. There's certain people in my life where I'm like, oh, what podcast do you listen to? They're like, I don't listen to podcasts. And then I remember we were on a job and you're like, oh, Science Versus.
I was going to say mine are all science. It's so funny.
But that makes sense with your background.
Yeah. You know, people, when I was getting ready for college, everybody was like, okay, you know, shelve the photography. That is not going to be your job. That will be your hobby. Focus on medicine. That will be your career. That's like what college is for, you know. Start specializing, you know. But now I've just flipped it, and now like photography is my profession, and medicine is just medicine and science is just my hobby. Like on the way here, I was listening to so nerdy. On the way here, I was listening to this channel on SiriusXMU called Dr. Radio.
Okay.
It's doctors in New York that have different shows. I was listening to the otolaryngology show.
What is laryngology?
Otolaryngology is
photolaryngology?
Otolaryngology. It's ear, nose, and throat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. That, and I'm like great at trivia. I know a lot of random fun science facts. But
oh, that's awesome. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite, like, random science fact?
Random fun science fact. Gosh, no. They're all fun. They're all cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, a favorite job that you've worked? Or, like, a piece from a client? I know that, like, sometimes it can be soulless working for clients or maybe, like, creatively stunting. To work for certain clients, but do you have something that still sticks with you today that you were like, oh fuck, I'm so proud of that?
Specifically with like client, like a job shoot.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then also maybe not.
I mean, I think as hard as music festivals are, the reason I keep going back to them is the feeling the days or so after when I've finally finished going through the thousands and thousands of images and editing whatever of my own personal selects I wanted to edit. And I look at the collection of work that I've made and I'm able to say, like, whether it was just 2 or 3 photos per set that I got to shoot, like, I'm so proud of those images. So that stuff, I mean, obviously, like, Coachella's incredible and iconic, and like, it's, I'm not downplaying it at all when I say, like, it's just such an immense honor to get to shoot it in any capacity or work there in any capacity. So that's a big one. But in terms of like client brand work, I did a shoot for Absolute Vodka a long time ago, probably like 2018, I think. So like, this was pretty soon after I moved to LA. And I was really only like a second shooter on it. David LaChapelle was the main photographer.
Oh.
Yes. And I only got hired because I shoot the 3D GIFs.
Yes.
And I had no idea what I was doing. This was my first like professional commercial advertising gig ever.
Whoa.
No idea what I was doing. But I was just like, yeah, I'm there, whatever. The photos did not turn out that great. Like, in terms of 3D GIFs, like, I've gotten a lot better at them. There's this like weird wonky thing that can happen to the film where it's not fully taut and then you get this like jello-y effect. I've since learned how to correct that in post. Didn't know how to do that at the time. But the experience of shooting in downtown LA with David LaChapelle, with this cast of, I think there were like 25 incredible activists, drag queens, models, like there was so many icons there, and they were, you know, completely done up head to toe, like professional set dressing. Like, it was incredible, the opportunity to see so early in my career what is possible when you reach a certain level, like the David LaChapelles of the world.
Yes.
And while I'm not like particularly proud of the work I made there, because I'm like looking at it with all the experience I have now, where I'm like, oh, like I could have crushed that now. I'm still proud that I got the opportunity, and for like how I approached it, and also like the business side of things. There were some things, some hard lessons I learned with that shoot in terms of licensing and things like that.
Yeah, which nobody
teaches you. You just
teaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to like film school.
They don't
or like
teach it.
Like photo school.
Yeah, they don't teach that either.
Yeah, so things that I kind of had to learn the hard way in terms of protecting myself and catching people when they're using stuff that they shouldn't be using in ways they shouldn't be using it. All those sorts of things. But that still stands out as like just a fucking incredible gig.
Yeah, that I was looking at that last night. I'm like, these are just so good. I thought it was like a Pride event that you were like documenting.
So it was for Absolute Vodka's Pride campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like at Pride.
Yeah.
And that you just got these randomly. I was like, what the fuck? This is so cool. I didn't know that was like David LaChapelle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He shot the billboards for it. And then I shot all of their like social components.
Wow.
And they had like billboards and like the electronic billboards in like random bus stops. And I think like Grand Central Station or Union Station.
Wow. With the 3D GIFs? No way.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. Now that I'm thinking, I mean, I was so broke then, so it was impossible. But at the time,
huge.
if I could go back, I would go to New York so I could like see it in person.
Correct.
Because now I just have screenshots of people's stories. I like prepped
so
cool. hard
cool.
looking for it online.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Please feel free to say no. Do you remember what you were paid for something like that?
Yeah. So I think the way I still structure my pricing is like the creative fee, which is really like my time for doing the job. So
does that depend on job?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if a job requires me to shoot like 5 different cameras, if I'm shooting digital and 3D GIFs and Polaroids, and if I'm juggling a lot and having to do a lot while I'm on set, that price is going to be a little bit higher just because it's more demanding. So that's like the creative fee side of things. Then editing, because not every job is going to have me just edit their 5 selects. Some jobs I'm going to have to edit 200 photos.
Yeah.
So I tend to break up editing fees and creative fee. And then licensing. So there's usually like those 3 things. And then any other reimbursements like film costs, stuff like that. So for this, I think I put my day rate, so my creative fee, at like $1,200, which at
looking
the time
back now,
was pretty low for something that is a very specialized type of photography.
Correct.
A little low. I think the editing, I think I did it per GIF, and I think it was maybe like $200 a GIF. Honestly, a little low because the GIFs are made of multiple images, so I'm editing many photos per GIF, retouching many photos to try and get them to look exactly the same, even when they're overlapped. So that was a little tricky. And with it being a brand, they're going to be very specific about retouching. And there were also multiple rounds of edits that I had to do because they had me send them edits. And then they came back and said, oh, here's David's image. You need to match this. They didn't show me that first.
Oh, awesome.
So then I had to go back and color everything to match his editing. Then and I don't remember how many GIFs they actually ended up licensing or how many they had me edit. So I think it was like 200 a GIF. And then for licensing, when this was where it got like a little sticky, because they originally said that they just wanted however many GIFs for, I think it was just for 6 months, possibly, or maybe even like a month, because they were just using it for Pride. I think that's what it was, just a single month. And it was for just digital and social media. It was just going to be on their social media and on their website. And then I started seeing photos in bus shelters, photos in Grand Central Station. They had a massive Pride event in New York where they used unedited raw images that I sent them for them to pick their selects from. Massive step and repeats of my unedited raw images. So I can't remember exactly what I initially charged them for licensing of just the gifts for just online web for like a month. But when they started to use these out of home and, you know, like photos I never approved them to use, I hit up a lawyer and I was like, what do I do here? And he was like, you send them an invoice. And if they know what's smart, they'll just not ask any questions and they'll pay the invoice. There was like a little bit of negotiating back and forth, but when it was all said and done, I think for the licensing, I think I got $14,000.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you consider like it was not going to be even near that much because again,
Yes.
I didn't know what I was doing. This was like my first gig. So when it was just going to be on social media and their website, I was like, okay, it's just a few gifts, like however much per gift. But then when they were using them in like out of home, like physical spaces.
Right.
And then when they were using images I never approved them to use, unedited images, that's a reflection of my work.
Right.
You know? The game changed at that point. So I ended up getting, I think, like $14,000 in licensing.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. And that seems like a lot, but I've also been on like it is a good paycheck.
Yeah. Totally. But there are other gigs where it's like you might get more than that fighting for much less.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was on a shoot. That's something that I've needed to learn over the years. I didn't know anything about licensing. I didn't know anything about usage. I just knew like, oh, okay, I come in and take the photos. Because like in the music realm, especially like festival photography or whatever, it's just like you get a day rate, that's it. They can use images for whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want.
They take it all.
They take it all. And it's just kind of like, sometimes it can be I don't want to say like an abusive relationship, but it can be
I'll say it.
Okay.
It's an abusive relationship.
It can be they just take advantage of hungry young folks.
Yeah.
And
they know it's a position a lot of people want to be in.
Yes.
And that you're willing to expect subpar accommodation.
Correct.
Because of that.
Right. And moving to LA, being on different sets with different people, working with different people over the past like 2 years, it's like, oh, I've learned so much. I was on a shoot and they accidentally sent out the budget to the crew and we saw what they started with. So we saw all the company's insights about, hey, we have these 3 photographers we're looking into. Our expected rate to spend on photography is $10,000 only. And then we see their thought process and the email chains or whatever of being like, hey, we want to go with this person. Let's contact their agency. A good reason to be with an agency is that they can fight for, bigger budgets for you, which is great. Do they take some? Yes, but it's still awesome. They started with $10,000 they wanted to spend, and then they ended up paying this photographer $100,000 for 17 edited images. I was like, whoa, that's so much. But then it's like we saw the price breakdown from the agency and was like, cool, creative, travel, blah, 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 assisting, editing. And then it was licensing and usage of the images for 1 year for everything, like billboards, campaigns, whatever, bus stops. And that was like the major fee in it. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. That's crazy.
Licensing used to be how photographers maintain their livelihood.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not even the time you'd actually spend shooting, but just being able to depend on clients coming back and relicensing work. So think about it like, so case in point, all these music labels and music festivals that take advantage of full buyouts and forcing us into full buyouts. Imagine if it wasn't the case and they only licensed our work for a year.
Right.
But then now it's the 10-year anniversary of that festival, or that artist is putting out a re-release, like, you know, an anniversary edition of that album, and they want to share images from that tour or something like that. That label or that festival would need to come to you and re-up their license. So licenses are there for you to continue to make money on imagery you've already created. And that's really how like the old dogs in photography continue to make a living.
Oh, wow.
It's just their work being licensed, you know,
over
in
and
mass, over
again.
and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when more and more brands, because brands are doing it too, because on one hand, I understand with the age of social media and the web, they are needing a lot of content that they can just crank out and put out and just fill the grid, you know, fill the feeds of all the people. And they don't want to be constrained by having to check, like, do we still own the license for this?
Yeah.
So brands do it too. But music festivals, think how much of our work, yes, goes live the weekend of the festival, but then is used the following year to promote ticket sales.
Yep.
You know, they don't want to have to fuck with licenses and paying us more.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it pisses me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it really hard for this to be a sustainable career when this is just not as much of an option anymore.
Yeah.
Like licensing is just not really on the table for a lot of people anymore. What I'm finding happening more and more is brands are coming to me to shoot stills on their commercial shoots. So they'll be doing video, let's say with like a celebrity like ambassador or something. And they're going to be shooting a commercial or video components, and they want me to come on and shoot stills while that is being shot. And they don't want me to edit the images. They're going to do it in-house. They don't even want to make selects of the images. They just want me to transfer everything onto a hard drive and give it over at the end of the day. And then they want to own all the rights. That's happening more and more and more.
Interesting.
And it's just sort of a way for them to get all the content they're going to need for this campaign in one fell swoop. And luckily, it's getting to a point with some brands where you can name a number and they will be willing to pay that number. But it's kind of a roll of the dice if you're going to get that type of accommodation, I guess, for lack of a better word, or like if they're going to understand exactly what they're asking of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's scary. Kind of.
Yeah, for sure. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 of those at this point. And it's so weird because like sometimes they won't end up using any of the photos. And this will be a really short-lived campaign.
Right.
You know, celebrity endorsement stuff, it's like, it might just live on social media. And they might have paid me. Like they might have like way overpaid me because I said, well, here's what you're asking of me. I'm giving you everything, every image, every right, whatever, editing control. And then they might not use any of them. And then I'll walk away being like, well, I kind of had like the best outcome there, I guess. Like,
right.
I didn't really get taken advantage of because they didn't end up using any of my photos. But then the opposite can happen too.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like giving up ownership.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard. And it's like, I have terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of hundreds of thousands of images, and I own maybe like 5% of it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you ever get emails from brands trying to license your music photos?
No.
I've randomly started getting people like, have you heard of catch and release? This is sort of, yeah, you know about catch and release.
Is it that
they so it is an agency, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. No.
Oh.
There's a God, Patagonian? I don't know. What is like the people who live in Patagonia?
Patagonian.
Yeah. Patagonian?
Like in like Chile or Argentina?
Yeah, exactly. There's a tour group called Catch and Release that I'm trying to work with. So I was like, how do you know that?
No. This is an agency.
Okay.
I think it was an agency that is now turning into sort of like a licensing company. I don't know how, but they'll like randomly find my Instagram photos or photos from my website, and they'll be like, we have a brand that wants to license your image. And it's sort of like a stock email. So clearly they're working with a high volume of like images that they're trying to license, but it's just like random people from Catch and Release that'll reach out. But all the time, oh my gosh, all the time I'm like, I do not own this image. I do not own this image. Yes, I shot it, but no, I do not own this image. Yeah. And there's another one I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything this year that you are looking forward to work-wise?
Work-wise? Oh, man.
Anything you would like to do?
Yeah, I want to... I hope that I get more commercial work where I'm on set. Yeah. I really do enjoy that. That's the type of work I think I enjoy most, is coming in and working with a team that is doing video. And I do like that kind of dance. It does remind me of all the things I loved about when I was doing film and television without some of the things I hated about it.
Yeah.
So I would love to do more of that. Yeah. What about you?
I think similar. I would love to do just more, have my personal projects turn into more, can we do this but with like a perfume bottle in somebody's hand or something. I want to work with brands that understand, I don't know, or not understand, but like have a quirkiness involved in their branding and willing to take risks. And I don't know. I just want to make money this year, as dumb as that sounds. But the last, 8 years of my career, I didn't realize how much money you could make. And then you work on set with somebody and like, hey, how much are you getting paid? And they're like, oh, I'm getting paid X amount. And it's like, wait, what?
It's that meme of the kid from Meet the Robinsons. It's like, you're getting paid?
Yes. It would be great for my work to be paid well.
And it should, because you're incredible.
I'm okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're incredible.
But yeah, I would just love to take those things further, get more involved in film. I have like a film shoot that I'm directing in like a month or two.
It's exciting.
It's like using my friend as a choreographer, Judson, and getting a couple people involved. And
is this a short film?
It's like montage things. Kind of like my last film thing that I did, where it's like you swipe and it's different things.
Loved that.
Thank you.
It was like the perfect blend of like, I feel like you could tell it came from the mind of a photographer, but it was just like the decisions felt so intentional of how to incorporate movement and perspective in it.
Thanks.
I loved it so much.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it came as a dream, and then I went out with my handy cam and like found locations and then found models and stuff. And I really like working in a team. Like, I do not like working by myself. I love to have a team. And for that shoot, there was like 8 people on it, which was wonderful. And it's like, great. Like, I just want to keep doing that. I do not like for festivals, it was like, cool, I can do whatever I want whenever I want, and like go and walk around and go get decent or beautiful imagery. And it's so lonely. It's so much better. Like I love working with a team. And like for last year was when I started working with teams and like creating teams to go out and like execute visions I have or whatever it may be, or ideas I have. And yeah, I do a thing every year where it's like writing down goals. But last year I started drawing them. Ooh. And like to even like picture it even better. So it's like, hey, I'll write down like working with teams, and like I'll put me in the middle with my camera, and then like people behind me like doing stuff, and traveling. It's like me on a plane waving like outside the window. So it's nice that came to fruition last year, and then just continuing with that this year, hopefully.
I love that.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
I can't wait to see what you create.
I appreciate that.
Literally every time you put stuff out, I'm like, quiet, my show's on.
Shut up.
No, I'm serious. I'm so serious.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And then it makes me mad every time I see you like just on editing teams, because I'm like,
no, I like being on editing teams. It's great. Yeah.
I do too. I like a mix. I like the editing teams where I get to then go out and do like a little bit of shooting at the same time. I like doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love like being in air conditioning and chilling and relaxing. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Final questions. Mm-hmm. Favorite restaurant in LA?
Oh, that's so hard.
One or two?
That's so hard. Oh God. You know those like online blogs that are essentially just like self-promotion content farms?
Sure, yeah.
that'll reach out and be like, do you want to do an interview with like New Frontier or like whatever it's called? And they just will ask you a set thing of questions. So I did one of those when I was in Houston before I moved. And then I got reached out to do one in LA. And when I did the one in LA, at that point I knew I had a better idea. Like, oh, nobody's going to see these.
Wait, I have no idea what you're talking about. What are these?
I don't know what the name is.
Content farms.
They're just blogs that just like have random like entrepreneurs, creatives. Here, I'll Google my name and then one will come up.
So they do like an interview on you?
Okay, so here's one. Canvas Rebel Magazine. Shout Out LA.
Yes. Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Ones, yeah. Where it's like, these are just for you to post to look like you've like done publicity.
Correct.
Because like nobody sees those. Nobody's going to just like read random interviews with like random creatives.
Right.
That are like
it's
random
not like
people. They're not like notable. I'm not notable. So I did one for Houston back when I was like very up and coming, and I was like, this is so exciting. And I like took it very seriously.
Yeah.
And then when I got asked to do one in LA, I was like, okay, why not? So took it much less seriously and like, answered the questions, whatever. But then they asked a question like, any places to eat or things to do that you can share with our readers? If they have a friend visiting town, what are some spots they could take them to? Look how long.
Wait.
That's all me just talking about my perfect day in LA.
That is...
And most of it's food. Do
you want to read that?
You want me to like read it verbatim?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, a lot of them are probably closed down now.
Okay.
Because this was... When did I do this? This was 2020. So I know some of these are definitely going to be closed down because pandemic.
All right. Okay. Do you see anything in there?
Yeah. Wait, let me just skim. Little Fatty in Mar Vista.
Nope.
It's like Taiwanese, like elevated Taiwanese street food.
Okay.
So good. The Window.
Yeah.
Well, now they have, okay. But at this time, it was just a walk-up window in Venice.
Oh.
And it was so good. It's attached to like American Beauty.
Yeah.
And now they've got locations. They've got the one in Silver Lake. But still, if you're looking for a good, cheap smash burger, it's reliable.
It is.
What? Say it.
I'm just like not a fan of it.
I'll fine.
Eat it. I'll eat it still, but I prefer some other places.
What's your go-to smash burger?
For the win.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But my go-to is just In-N-Out. Day and night. I'm a In-N-Out.
Everybody.
Girly.
Everybody's got something. That's fine. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's basic, but I do love John and Vinny's.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's so good. What's interesting about John and Vinny's is there are plenty of places that rival their pizza or rival their pasta or, rival this and that. But they're the one place that has everything I want in one spot.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get incredible pizza and incredible pasta and my favorite side dishes.
Yep.
And a pretty decent dessert there. Whereas like my favorite pasta spot otherwise doesn't have pizza. Mm-hmm. So then I'm fucked, Yeah.
My friend reached out the other day and she's like, hey, I'm like in La Brea area. Do you know of any good Mexican spots? And I was like, no, just go to John and Vinny's. Because there's like one on Fairfax, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh man, have you been to Dan Sung Sa?
Dude, is that place with the skewers?
Yeah.
No.
Oh man, we got it. We should put a group together and go to Dan Sung Sa. I would love that. It's so fun.
I've been trying to go like for a week and a half now.
Sometimes you'll have, I'm sure now, I haven't been in forever. I'm sure now there's like crazy, crazy waits, but with a group, it is so fun, especially like go out for drinks in Koreatown before and then hit up Dan Sung Sa. It's an experience for sure. What else? Oh man, yeah, so many of these have closed. That's closed. Okay. Still looking, sorry.
What are these spots?
So there was this tiki bar called Good Luck Bar.
Okay.
In Los Feliz. It was sort of over by the Vista Theater. It's closed. Dark Room, which was on Melrose. It's closed. Little Pine, vegan food. It's closed.
Damn.
Yeah, there's been a lot that's just gone. Little Bird or Lady Bird Cafe, that's gone. Button Mash changed.
Wait, Lady Bird is still open.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it changed to like Pollen or something.
No.
Or maybe it was Pollen before.
Lady Bird, like the place with like all the little bird
no.
things? No.
No, different. This was like way up at Echo Park Avenue, like it tucked into the neighborhood. Yeah. Across the street. Really? Wait, what are you talking about?
It's got like an outdoor...
the greenhouses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that it was gone. I thought it became something else.
Well, when was the last time that you went?
Probably like 2022.
No, I went like 6 months ago.
Oh, okay. Then I'm glad they're still there.
Yeah.
It's a cool spot. In Sheep's Clothing, which I think is gone. Have you been to In Sheep's? It's not a restaurant. It's a listening room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay, the date. It's a little dated now.
Any current spots
that are my favorite? Oh man, Checker Hall in Highland Park.
What?
Checker Hall in Highland Park is so good. It's the main thing I miss about the East Side. Like living in South Pasadena, we would hop over to Checker Hall all the time. It's, I think, like Middle Eastern food. Like really good, like chicken skewers. They have this whipped feta with the fluffiest pita, and it's got like brown butter and balsamic on it. Ooh. It's incredible. The veggies are delicious. They've got these sticky sweet potatoes.
Ooh.
My mouth is watering. I have to like swallow. And really good cocktails. And it's right next to, have you been to Lodge Room?
No.
That venue?
Dude, I don't go to Highland Park that much.
You should change that.
I should. It's a very cool neighborhood. I always feel like I'm in a 1960s, 70s movie walking down. What is that?
Like York. Yeah.
I mean, Joy. I've been to Joy a couple times.
I never went to Joy.
What?
I never went. I know.
Have you been to Pine and Crane?
No.
It's the same.
I know. Yeah. It's like Vietnamese, yeah?
Taiwanese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, that's a good one. Dude, I would have to say Girl and the Goat. Have you been there?
No, but I heard about it a lot.
Okay, it's insane. Bavel's pretty good too.
Okay, that's like a little like clout chase, like not clout chasery. No, not clout chasery, but that's like a very like
bougie.
No, it's like a status symbol. Like I feel like people when they go to Bavel, they like post it and they're like, yeah, I'm here.
You know what's funny? It's not my favorite spot though. I've only been there once because like, yeah, it's good.
What is?
Girl and the Goat. But Bakari is like my like true love.
There's one not far from us in Playa del Rey.
Okay.
I need to go.
Have you been?
No.
Okay, the Silver Lake one is awesome. It's like a treehouse vibe, very fun, outdoor seating. But yeah, my staples also are just like guisados. Good tacos.
I always miss that they don't have guacamole though.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
That's hard.
It is hard.
That's hard.
I do like guacamole.
As a Tex-Mex girly.
Yeah, do you miss Tex-Mex?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever go to Los Tios in Texas? Mm-mm. They had like these puffy quesos where it's just like a balloon tortilla with just queso
ladled on it. Yeah. And Home State doesn't really like quench the thirst.
No, it does not.
No. There's a place in downtown though that is Tex-Mex. Yeah. And it's still, here's the thing, like all Tex-Mex in LA still has to cater to Angelenos.
Yes.
And so it is all a little bit fussier than it needs to be. Like that's one of the beautiful things about Tex-Mex. It's really not fussy. It's really unpretentious. Let me see what it's called. Yes, I keep lists of all my favorite restaurants in my phone.
We need that list.
It's extensive.
Do you have it organized?
Oh yeah.
To region?
Yeah.
Neighborhood? No way.
Yeah.
Wait, why not just keep a Yelp?
Bar Ama.
Where is that one?
Downtown LA. I think it's like Arts District.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah. They have really good happy hour, which was where we went. It's like super nacho happy hour. Ooh. They have queso, pretty decent queso.
Okay.
I prefer it to the Home State queso, which I'm just generally not a fan of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Have you been to Dune?
No.
Kirby.
Are we going to start a separate club and just go to restaurants?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of down.
Okay, I'm down too. I mean,
you live so far now, so probably not.
If there's anything that's going to bring me in town, it's going to be food. Okay, so
you're right.
Yeah. I'm super down.
Dope.
Cool.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having
me. My fucking guinea pig.
Am I the first one?
Yes. Yeah, so I had somebody scheduled for Friday, and then his wife went into labor Friday morning.
I mean, that's a good excuse to miss it.
Yeah, I was like, is this just like a cancellation thing? I was like, dude, you can just tell me like you don't want to do it. But then he posted a story of him and the baby, so I'm like, okay, I guess
that's reassuring.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool, it's not me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, being a guinea pig, and
sorry, it's gonna be a mess to edit. I'm all over the place.
Okay, so I think I'm taking different things from different podcasts. People do not like the guy. I don't either, but the format works, and it's just like long form interviews that are unedited, which is like Joe Rogan or Dax Shepard or like people like that. And I just love that. Like the little quiet moments in the podcast, the loud moments, everything that's happening in like just long form. So I think I'm not going to like fully edit. I will like do a little sound, or if there's something in here that you're like, actually, I want that taken out.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I'm okay with everything I said.
Yeah.
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 There is some stuff though that I do want to, I'll tell you really quick once we're.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Seriously.